Same tender love and care they put into whiskey they do in cigars, where they store the tobacco. All of it matters, and I think that's why all three of us are such fans of cigars and whiskey, is because we love the process, the what it takes to make a quality product.
Right. Hello and welcome again to another episode of WTF. That's the
Whiskey
Tobacco
Fellowship.
That's right. And today I'm joined by, can I use your real names?
You can.
Garth and, can I use your real name? Josh. Sir Metal Knight and Dr. D, who may be changing his name later. We'll find that out later. That's a different discussion altogether. Today we're going to be smoking the El Rey de Mundo Classic, which is one of my personal favorites. And Garth, what are we going to be drinking from you?
This is going to be an Ardbeg Ardcore. It is a peaty Islay Scotch. Has rich, dark chocolate notes and smoky flavors. It pairs well with the wrapper of this cigar.
Okay, perfect. And what did you bring today?
Yes, I brought John J. Bowman. For anybody out there who drinks whiskey, everybody has heard of Blanton's. This is Blanton's juice essentially. So it's going to be very similar. The best thing about this is a little more proof at 100. So it's going to be a little more bodier, but it's just as much flavor.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
Remember, you can find all of our social medias everywhere you can find it. And feel free to check out previous episodes. Like, share, subscribe, all the stuff. You know the things. So the big topic of discussion today that I really wanted to tell you guys about was there was this big dilemma they've been doing for the past 5 to 6 years about flavored cigars. Well, something's changed about that. But before we get into that, let's light our cigars. What do you say?
Yes, let's do it.
What's your preferred method of lighting a cigar?
So recently, I have been doing the non-pull light, where I do not pull on it until it's fully lit, so you can taste it off the top.
Nothing but the top?
Nothing but the top.
Do we have a favorite flavored cigar?
A favorite flavored cigar? I would say my favorite flavored one is going to be, it's not Django. It's the Upsetter. It's a green one, and I forget the name of it, but it's kind of torpedoed-esque, almost conical, and has a very sticky kind of aroma to it. And surprisingly enough, it's good.
I bet it's heavenly. I typically go towards the sweeter ones if I do get a flavored cigar, but I do like a coffee note. If I get a coffee note in a cigar,
yeah, I love
which you typically can get into a normal cigar to a degree, but when you get those flavored cigars, they pair like honey and coffee. I've had something like that before. Now the fruity ones, like the berry type things like that, it's not for me.
Yeah, Tatiana just came out with a torpedoed version that's like bigger, and I'm like, please, nobody buy that and light that in the store. No offense to anybody who likes flavored, but you won't find us really typically enjoying that.
There's cigars for everybody, and whatever you like to smoke is what you like to smoke. You can do what you want.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I have to like flavored cigars.
So right off the top, what do you think?
It's really smooth.
No, that's a great pull right out the gate.
Yeah.
It's definitely has a robust, almost Enduro heaviness to it, but not too bad.
Can you believe this is like an $8 stick?
No, that's a really good price.
I know.
For that.
$8? Wow.
Yeah. Like it's like $6.99. You know, depending on the shop and whatnot. But round it up, it's about $8. And I even told one of our friends, Noble, online about it. And he's like, really? I'm like, bro, you got to find the stick before they raise the price. Because you can't beat it right now.
How old is it? How long has it been out?
I don't know the exact number. I've been smoking it for about a good year. And I haven't told anybody because just like one of my other favorite broadcasters, don't tell people what you're smoking.
Yeah, and I even tell his friends over here. This is the first time we're smoking it, and we've known them for years now.
Well, so when I was trying to select one for this one, I went, what am I going to pick? It's like for the very first episode I did. One of the guys who motivated me, he actually sponsored it and helped me buy a bottle to do it. It was a Woodford Reserve Double Oak. He gave me a little bit of money to help buy the bottle because he wanted to encourage me to just start. right? And so he goes, do your favorite stuff. And I'm like, you're right. I'm gonna go with my top favorite stuff right off the top. And this was one of the cigars that's right off the top.
That's awesome.
Which spirit would you like to partake in with this cigar?
So you're right now drinking the Bowman. You right now are drinking the Hardcore.
Yes.
You guys both know me really well. Which one should I try first with it? Try not to be biased, although I know you can't. Which one do you think I should start with?
I think
Are
honestly,
you gonna start with one and finish with one? That's the question.
Yeah, that's a good. Let's do that.
I was.
If you're gonna do that, you have to go this way and then go that way because that's gonna linger on your tongue and your palate more.
It is, but it's more flavorful and pairs better, in my personal opinion, with a cigar.
I'm gonna have to use my nose to figure it out. Then, may I?
Oh yeah. You know what? You can always take a sip too.
Yeah, take a sip, see what you want to start out with.
Good smell on that. Tell us a little bit about the Bowman while I'm.
Yeah, so Bowman's fantastic. It's honestly, it's really hard to get your hands on. That's the first time I saw it was on the shelf just recently, but it is Buffalo Trace juice. It's
juice.
Yeah, you gotta call it the juice, baby. It's the juice.
This juice is worth the squeeze.
But if I'm not mistaken, they sell it to a distillery in Virginia, and they distill it again. So basically, it's this whiskey there, and then they send it to Bowman, and then they'll distill it again, so they can then say that it's distilled in Virginia.
Wow.
And then so it's redistilled, and it is fantastic products. They have all kinds. They have the Bowman Brothers, stuff like that. But
Really good stuff.
All right, let me try this one out. Tell us a little bit about it.
Ardbeg Hardcore is an Isle of Scotch single malt. Ardbeg is probably one of the biggest brands of Isle of Scotches. They do a lot of collaboration work with basically a lot of their biggest supporters and people that collect their whiskey. And this is one of their collections that of a group they have. And they single pit to barrel, finished it, and this is the product they have.
That is a hard one. You weren't joking.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie. That one's the better whiskey. I wanted it more like simple, and then that's the more complex flavor. It's kind of see what brings out more.
I think you're right. Honestly, I think you're right about that because you know me. I love Isle of Scotches, and I think you're right. Let me get some of that real quick. So, do you guys know anything about this flavored cigar ban?
Yeah, I only know it because we discussed it before in the past whenever it was pushing it forward. And we, of course, they do a lot of these pushing legislation with, trying to, tax and, limit, everything. So I know a little bit, but not as much.
Yeah. So you got that basically right. The government was trying to, and the FDA, they're trying to limit smoking because they think smoking is bad, but they're associating smoking with cigarette smoking, which they put the chemicals.
It's terrible. It's the chemicals and everything. It's not the same. You can't put cigars and cigarettes in the same category.
Right. So they're trying to gateway this smoking ban into cigars, into like this, and some of your favorite ones, like the black,
The Javas or the Tabacs?
No, that Alliance, the one that starts with an A that you like, oh my, you were smoking it the other day.
Encore?
No,
Encore, yes.
Encore.
Oh yeah,
Encore Black.
Yeah. Encore Black.
You imagine a ban on smoking in general being associated with a flavored stick based on the stick that you like, being associated with that.
That's crazy.
Right.
So is that how? So like for the viewers too as well. So that's how far they were going to go. It wasn't just like the flavored stuff that they usually keep separate. Yes. But as far as like those kind of cigars, like the
Give
black.
an inch, take a mile.
Yeah, because it's also about the wording. It's how they worded it.
Yeah.
It's flavoring characteristics of a cigar. It's not saying specifically flavored cigars, which, personal opinion, I don't like flavored cigars, but to each their own. I don't think they should be done away with. I think people have the freedom to choose what they smoke, and to put in the same category as cigarettes.
Yeah.
It's just blasphemy because one causes cancer and all these bad healthy things for you. And one is particularly done by consenting adults. They're in their late 20s all the way up to till they die, basically.
Yeah.
There's a huge range. The amount of young people they're trying to save, quote unquote, from flavored cigars or something like that, they're just not existent.
Right. So they're trying to gateway that in there with the fact that they don't want youth to get hooked into smoking via the flavored sticks.
Right.
Well, the new Trump administration, they basically did away with that. It's gone. They're like, no, this is nonsense. And I actually got into a debate with a person yesterday about it because she came in here and she was talking about, well, it causes cancer. I'm like, no, cigars really don't. I mean, you can look up multiple studies. One right off the top, it's an older one. It's called a Monogram Number 8. You can actually buy the book on Amazon. It's a blue book. It was, what's funny is when I first bought the first edition of it, it was like $8. And then I bought 2 copies of it, and it immediately skyrocketed to like $15 to $25. And then a buddy of mine had to wait like 2 months, and they dropped the price back down because nobody was buying it. So you can get it.
Right.
And they have other studies that are even more recent where there's only like a 1.5% chance of negative effects from cigar smoking. Because
there's about 100% effect of cigarettes.
Exactly. We don't inhale. There's no chemicals in these.
It's all natural grown.
That's what the FDA was trying to connect, was flavored sticks, cigarettes with their chemicals. Okay, this fits in the same kind of category, and it doesn't. And it's obviously from these people who don't smoke any of this stuff.
Right. It's easy to judge and say stuff like that when you've never partaken in it yourself or no base knowledge of this is grown in the farm, cultivated, all hand. Usually a lot of it's hand rolled, handmade. There's no chemicals that are added to it. Now the flavored cigars, on the other hand, I'm not exactly the process of making flavored cigars. You probably could tell me more.
They're mostly machine made, and then their stuff is, sprayed with the flavor and rolled, and it's that's the reason we don't like them.
Right.
I'll be honest with you.
I don't think added to it.
I just feel like when they worded that, they were more going for like that black and mild, like the ones you buy at the gas station that are flavored.
Oh, the cigarillos and stuff like that.
Yeah, basically those, like, so because I know, like, when I was growing up, young, I know, before you're supposed to buy them, that's what they were smoking. They're not smoking stuff out here at these Tatianas, or something like that typically.
True. But also when you're a kid, though, when you heard black and mild, you didn't think cigar.
No, exactly. No.
Black and mild has become its own thing to where when you hear black and mild, it's a black and mild. It's not a cigar. It's a black and mild.
Right.
So most kids don't distinct the difference between the two.
Yeah, that's why I think it's why the wording is so generic, so to encompass
so
those
everything else too.
But what happens is that this is a catch, and that happens to be in that it was in at least the in the crossfires. But hey, let's make smoking great again.
Yeah, it's government overreach that we don't need it.
Yes. That was good. That was excellent. That's exactly right.
Make cigars great again.
It is. It's just this gateway thing that we don't want to get into.
Yeah.
And you, all of us, damn well know that if for some reason there was a ban on cigars, all those politicians would be buying them up like crazy.
Oh yeah, it's no difference than firearms.
Right.
You put a ban on firearms, guess what's going to happen? Everybody's going to buy firearms.
Yeah.
You can get their hands on all they can get because they know it's going to be a limited quantity because they're not going to be able to be made anymore legally.
That could get me into the discussion of Cuban cigars made in Cuba and how they're. But I'm not going to get into that because that would be the rest of the show.
Yeah. That's a sticky situation right there.
So do you have any more to add with this Bowman? Because it's very. You keep saying, what did you say, Buffalo Trace juice?
Yeah.
Why do you say juice?
It's funny. I don't know. I think it's just been it's a more modern term, and a lot of the whiskey influencers, they'll say stuff like that, where it's just the juice from the products, from the distillery. But what I mean by juice is that basically it's distilled in a barrel and they ship it over, or they probably put it in a vat, honestly, probably one of those plastic vats, but they ship it on over to the Bowman distillery, and then they redistill it, which is really cool because it's a very interesting concept to distill whiskey. Of course it's clear. They're going to redistill it all over again, so it's twice distilled, and then because of that, they can now put their, where it's distilled by them.
Exactly.
Even though it
becomes theirs.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. So that's just really cool.
I don't want to throw any shade on anything, but it's like, this is a similar effect that happened with Travelers, but Travelers is definitely not that good.
You're talking about the Chris Stapleton whiskey?
It's called Travelers.
Oh, yeah. So that's just like a celebrity brand, and so that's by and of course pushed by through Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
But it's a celebrity brand from I missed on the country guy's name. What's his name?
Chris Stapleton?
Yeah, Chris
Yeah,
Stapleton.
That's what I just said.
I wanted to like that one so much because I probably went through 2 bottles of it. By the time I finished with the second bottle, I just had to make the conclusion that I don't like this.
Well, that's some of the problem you have with celebrity branded whiskeys. It all depends on the celebrity, honestly.
Yeah.
It's
And
how much
also
they want to be.
his palate too, though.
It's his palate too, yes, but it also depends on how involved they want to be. You know, it could be a type of celebrity. Not saying Chris Stapleton did this, but it could have been someone. He just has a representative of himself.
Yeah.
Say, hey, go choose this whiskey for me, and then I'll brand it for myself and all like that. Because he might not be a whiskey expert, so he might hire someone to become his liaison for the distillery and go sample all these whiskeys to see if they can find the best one.
Yeah.
And that liaison can have not a popular palate, so it might not be what you like or what the mass majority of people like.
Right.
Well, that's why Buffalo Trace and stuff like that has such a large reach, because they don't necessarily choose the most extreme flavors. You know, they choose a base level sweetness that pretty much anybody can pick up a bottle and enjoy it.
I'd agree.
Same what Jack Daniels did.
I'd agree.
You get something that the mass majority of people love, then you're going to sell
Yeah.
a load of it.
Never turn down a bottle of Buffalo Trace.
And now, once you get in that door, then you can start experimenting with more rare flavors and different things, and finishing in this barrel and that barrel, and you get down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But
We can go down the rabbit hole.
Oh yeah.
there is a large
Yeah,
rabbit hole.
Oh snap! Look at that. Mine's got double bands.
Uh-oh. That's
Wow.
Does y'all's have double bands?
No,
Maybe they do an outside and inside.
that would be it. That'd probably.
So
3D. Now I'm just jerking off a cigar.
So this cigar is wrapped in a white
Trying to pull
paper,
it down.
but you can kind of see on here. Anybody listening, there's a main label, and then there's another label underneath that says Classic, and there's this white tissue paper in between. I ripped off the tissue paper before we started because it makes a lot of sound. But this cigar has gone through changes. Their Oscuro, which is one later on, I'd like for us to try, because Oscuro is like, you get this curve of Connecticut up at the top, and it scrolls down, and then you're going to all these different flavors. You eventually hit Maduro and then different levels of Maduro, and Oscuro's at the bottom, but instead of continuing down, it kind of goes like this and starts its own level.
Oscuro has become one of my favorite types of cigars to smoke, for sure. But I've always been a Maduro fan anyway. I like the darker stuff. Unless I need a palate cleanser, so I'll go with something like a Connecticut or something like that. But
Yeah.
definitely don't start off with Maduro. That's one tip: never start off with Maduro.
Yeah. I did that today, but it was a lightweight Maduro, and I just kind of let it sit because I knew what we were smoking.
Because my personal opinion, it burns out your palate out the gate to where you can't enjoy something lighter in case you wanted something lighter.
Same thing whiskey. You know, if you're going to do different tastings, you want to start off with the lowest proof, and then probably the least amount of like complexity behind it, or not complexity, but like for instance, like the Isle Scotch, that really smoky, peaty taste. It can then carry over to everything you drink after that.
Yeah, like this is definitely smoky, peaty spiciness. And it has a little bit of spices because of the proof,
sweet.
but it's sweet. This is super sweet compared to this.
Yeah, this guy's got a very interesting bottle. This Ardcore,
Yeah, you can read the flavor notes on it too. It tells you.
created with black malt barley. Ardcore is a first for Ardbeg and probably whiskey. Aroma of dark chocolate and bitter toffee, clash, while amped up notes of aniseed and charcoal elbow their way to the fore.
Like a mosh pit. Baby.
I know, I like that. And what's funny is you say that is like it's got a lot of punk stuff.
Yeah,
like you can
it's
see on
hardcore, like hardcore.
it says punctured on the back. It's got a dog on it and everything.
Yes.
Look it up. Look the bottle up. Isla single malt Scotch whiskey.
They can be hard to find depending on your location.
Yeah,
They'll be a little bit higher priced than most, but I'll say if you're willing to spend a little bit over $100 for a bottle, and you like Isla Scotch, like a peaty, smoky Scotch.
Even if you don't try it, because it's probably
yeah.
it's probably one of the best Isle Scotches. If you ever had like a normal Ardbeg or especially a Lafroig,
Or a Port Charlotte.
well, I'm just saying, if you had those two, and you had a bad experience because it was just way over the top, peaty, too much
Yes.
smoke, feel like you're chewing on on a campfire. You didn't like it? This is going to be this one here, and also the Port Charlotte.
Port Charlotte
They're
heavily peated.
Sweet smoke. It's like a sweet smoke,
'Cause
and it's so good.
Yes, because these two right here are massive Scotch fans and love the peat. I was never the biggest Scotch person until I found certain balls that were peated but had that sweet undernote to where it's enjoyable. And it's some of my favorite balls like this Arbor Dark Core and Port Charlotte heavily peated.
So,
Yeah.
when we come back from the break, I'd like to hear what y'all's opinion is mixed with the cigar you guys have. We'll be right back. And we're back. So, you're smoking. You're
I
enjoying
am.
this.
It's great.
How is it going with this? Are you noticing any temperaments, anything changing, anything like that?
I don't think it hasn't had any kind of like heat spikes or gotten too hot smoking. I think it's been a smooth draw pull for me.
Yeah.
The notes of the spiciness is still there, which is fantastic. It does kind of like the whiskey we're drinking. It has a chocolatey note to it, not like a dark chocolate though.
So I'm going. We mentioned this last episode, and I'm going to do it this time because of the stigma behind it. I'm dipping. I don't care.
You gonna dip?
I'm going to dip.
You gonna put one on your lip?
Put little dip.
That's what I call when I go into the pool.
Put your little toe
More
in.
of a big dip though, but how is it?
That's fantastic. It brings out the flavor
I'm dipping too.
of the band.
Dipping
Now he's
too.
dipping with the Ardbeg, and I dipped with the Bowman. I'm interested to dip
You more like dunked it over there.
Now, so anybody who's listening who doesn't know, there's a lot of stigma behind that. Really, cigar aficionados, you dipping and you shouldn't. Oh, bump that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Come on, Josh. Come on, Josh.
I'm just debating on which
He's
one.
got
Which
some
one
Ardbeg
I
right there.
which one I
I'm telling you,
dunk it
this
now.
Ardbeg is the way to dip. It just enhances.
But I would say though, in general, like and this almost the same as you're saying, is like that you get a little chocolate note. It's been really just the first third of it's been really good. It's I would say like you get chocolate, good smoke, a great ash too on top of that. But it's honestly for great ash.
Great ash.
I feel like Nicaraguan tobacco. I can't say it. Don't chastise me for saying the name of the country. It is what it is. I'm from the South. It's some of my favorite tobacco. And I think if I find cigars that have that tobacco in it, that's what I'm going towards. That's what I'm going to take towards that.
I'm so sorry. I forgot to mention that in the beginning.
I was about to say we didn't say anything
We
about
didn't
it,
even
did we?
say it. So the wrapper's Ecuadorian Sumatra. The binder is Honduran. And you guys know how I feel about Honduras. And the filler is Honduran and Nicaraguan. I'm a big fan of Nicaraguan. Big fan.
I think we all are. It gives it like that little smoke, a little spiciness too. I feel like so. I think with the Sumatra wrapper, with also the Ecuadorian, part of that being that filler from there, it really does make it's really rounded out like, great flavors. Like it's a compiling of flavors. I'm not always a Sumatra. I'm my biggest fan, but it's really good though.
Yeah.
Yes.
The pairing I would say with the J Bowman, John J Bowman, I actually just not the biggest fan of it, to be honest. I think it has a little bit extra bitterness to it that I'm not the biggest fan of. But that's what you do. You trial and error of which whiskeys mesh well with what.
Right.
So I'm really excited to see how moving over to the hardcore, see how that pairs.
That's a good point. That's a very good point because the Bowman and this, it's two completely different from each other to the point where you're tasting them separately and you're not getting a good compliment. They're still good, but not a great compliment.
Yeah. So.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, there's been some a lot of times where if you do some whiskey pairings. I've had some stuff where it's like it completely ruins the experience. One of the craziest bottles I ever did that with was a Stag Junior. I threw a Stag Junior. I thought it was going to be amazing because it's super cherry forward, and it was the Olivia V 2023, that Figurado shaped one. I paired those two together because I always got really big cherry notes out of both of them. But what happened was when I added them both together, because they were so similar in the cherry note, it just doubled down on that medicinal cherry almost.
Right.
So I felt like I was drinking like straight up just cough syrup.
That's why I think you kind of need to, if the cigar you have has that natural like cherry note, like you said, not necessarily doubling down on the cherry because cherry could be overpowering.
Yeah.
You know, like with chocolate, like this, why I pair with this one is because of the chocolate notes, and you can't have too much chocolate. Let's be honest.
I know what I'm going to force you guys to do next time.
Can't have too much chocolate.
Maybe not next time, but at some point, we're doing Jaeger and cigars.
Oh no!
I'm gonna force them.
His
Jaeger.
obsession with Jaeger,
I
the liqueur,
love Jaeger.
not it's the liqueur. supposed to be added to things.
Straight Jaeger.
straight
I can
up.
drink an entire bottle
He's
without
insane.
blinking.
He's insane.
I'm now trying to figure out if I can force you to drink chartreuse with a cigar, but I don't know if that will put with anything.
It'd have to be a light cigar, an earthy, like herbal.
That'll be a
cigar.
conversation for later.
That'd be a great episode, dude.
I'm dipping this. This is by the
I'm
way
gonna
amazing.
Some great episodes. It's like
By the way-
comparing each type of whiskey, so Scotch, Irish, bourbon, gin.
That's
all
what
those
we're
with
here
cigar.
for.
Oh my god, you aren't joking. This is way
Right?
better with this one. Your selection is perfect for this. You knocked it out of the ballpark.
I did my research.
Good job.
And luckily enough, I have a broad selection at the house for whatever is recommended.
I was discussing that with Max about that, and he goes, "Well, I mean, you can bring some of your." Yeah, I always try to bring my bottle, but you know, my selection's like maybe 15, maybe 20. I think.
Sure.
Theirs is
You've gotten bigger.
200, 300, maybe,
Not
probably
300
more.
yet. We're both in 200s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're fighting back and forth
We're,
now. at
we're,
this
we're,
point.
we're knocking on the door of 250, I'd say. 230, 250.
Yeah, you're around there. Yeah, but
So-
we're not here bragging about this. But yeah, well, if anything, I got a meeting to go to after this.
Now, and if you are in the same situation, there is a help hotline right here at the bottom of your screen. Just kidding. Collectors Anonymous.
that's really is.
It is a collection problem.
Oh, the dip is nice.
It really is.
Isn't it? Did you dip in the Ardbeg?
Yeah,
The
of course.
tip?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is.
That's why I
Right.
didn't dip immediately in this area anyway, because I didn't like it in the beginning. I was like, we'll keep it growing.
I think the dipping in that, it just like I had a rush of just flavor, just interacting with each other, bouncing off each other, and nothing clashing.
You dip, I dip, she dip.
We all dip.
You're not joking
dip.
though, because what happens is you get it brings out double the chocolate out of the cigar.
Yeah.
It really does double down
Turns
on it.
into what were we talking about today? A flavored cigar.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
people
Hey,
might say.
it does.
Technically, yes. I mean, technically, yes. Marvin, you know, our regular Marvin.
Yes.
He picked up the thing from Arnold Schwarzenegger where he took the cedar band, dipped it in tequila, and rubs it. Now he'll even say, "I'm going to prepare your cigar. Go get one," and he'll bring either tequila or something else, and he'll pour it in a cup, and he'll do like that, and he goes, and I mean, he lathers it like it changes the color of the thing, and you're like, "This is going to be terrible," and it's not. It's always good. He mostly does it with Perdomo Fresco because at the time of recording this, the season of Perdomo Fresco's right now. Whatever batch they're using for Perdomo Fresco has been fantastic for 2024. We're in 2025 now. It's been great.
I've always found that interesting how cigars can have like an up and down. You think that it'd be consistency from the same cigar they made 2 years ago to where it is today. But at the end of the day, I think it really is just batch dependent on what the crop yielded and the quality.
Yeah.
And you think that, hey, I'm buying this cigar, it should taste the same as I had it a few months ago, and it might be different.
Yeah. Well, I'll touch on that quick because I can talk about this all day. But Arturo Fuente, I believe it's Arturo Fuente, Opus X.
Yes.
They had a hailstorm, I think it was 2 years ago, wiped out like 25% of their crop.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's the reason. And they're like, guys, if you see an Opus X, you see a Forbidden or something, buy it now because the next year's price are going to be higher because they don't have as much.
That makes more sense. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But like you said though, it's like whiskey's the same way. You start, same grain, same mash bill, same everything. But just because wherever it's stored at, I'm curious if because I know my world is always whiskey,
Right.
and I'm in way too much on the knowledge behind it.
You know a little bit.
Just a wee bit. But I'm curious though if I know they age those leaves too. Are they aging it anywhere different? And then of course they're coming from different batches of the year. I would assume.
Well, think
too.
about it. It's like what is it? Maker's Mark. They have that cellar, right? It gets really cold and changes the flavor and consistency
The one
of
in
the
the
whiskey.
mountain?
The cellar age,
Yes.
yes. The one
Yeah.
that's on the mountain. Think about it. They could have a barrel of whiskey on that bottom floor. It turns out great. They love it. They could have just one more floor higher. or just another shelf higher, and that can change the taste of that whiskey altogether.
Yeah,
that's what I love.
That makes it so hard because they have to constantly sit there and taste and sample and pull and say, is this relatively close to what we just had? If it's just a little bit off, a lot of times they'll still sell it out there because of variation. That's why people see batch numbers.
Yeah.
Specific. Say this is batch 3. We know batch 3 was fantastic. Yeah. Now batch 6, it was okay.
Yep. That's why also I told you to get that that.
I was just thinking that. Yes.
So the Camp Nelson Wild Turkey one that I told you to get because it was in a different. Normally it's always in Camp David.
It is in Camp David.
Yeah. So it's usually over there in that warehouse. And of course, you're gonna, even just different warehouses, how they're made, you get different, profiles, taste, stuff like that. So they pulled a lot of whiskeys from the other one that I got you, and it was just because everybody was raving about it, and it was amazing. It was really good.
Yeah. So it's just like when they have like fires of rick houses, and all that stuff burns down. They have to build up a new rick house, and that new rick house is not really, I guess you call it seasoned, like the old rick houses are.
Yeah.
Because with a new rick house, you have tighter gaps. Nothing is swelled and compressed and open more for wind to come in and affect those barrels. Because what affects barrels is temperature and wind and movement. So if you don't have that, you have that more so in an old rick house than you do a new rick house.
Yeah, it makes me think of the same. That's the reason cigars and whiskey pair so well together.
Yes, they do.
Is because the old adage is 100 people touched this before it got to you. It's similar with whiskey.
Where's the Germex?
You see those people, you're like, germaphobes and stuff. Like, if you're a germaphobe, smoking cigars is not for you. I'm sorry. I mean, because 100 people have touched this thing, and I can guarantee you they're not washing their hand. They're probably washing when they start, but the whole process, they're not going to go.
Maybe.
They'll go to the bathroom and wash their hand. But yeah.
They wash their hands.
Yeah.
That's a good employee.
Yeah.
But it's the same tender love and care they put into whiskey that they do in cigars, where they store the tobacco. All of it matters, and I think that's why all three of us are such fans of cigars and whiskey, is because we love the process, the what it takes to make a quality product.
Right, and it goes full circle. Yeah. You won't go to any cigar shop and not find people drinking libations.
Oh yeah,
you won't. It just won't happen. It's just, this is a dry cigar shop. We're going to ginger ale and O'Doul's beer.
The only beer you're going to get is root beer.
Yeah, right.
O'Doul's is like 0.001 or something alcohol. It's a non-alcoholic beer. That makes me think of a story. When I was young, my buddy and I, we went to Underground Atlanta when it was still able to go there without any issues. And we were 17. And we ordered an O'Doul's. We thought we were going to get in trouble. The guy didn't card us, nothing. You're like, you think back to it now, and you're like, why would he card you? It's a non-alcoholic beer. We thought we were doing something.
You thought you're cool as all get out. You're getting carded.
I'm drinking a beer. No, you're not. You're not drinking anything.
No. Makes you feel better about yourself, though.
Probably more alcohol and kombucha, honestly.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Ugh, kombucha.
So to tie this all back in, all of this wonderful flavors, all of these things, you can't pair them with cigarettes. It's just not possible. No, that's the reason this newest administration, 2025, they got away with all of that so that you can't sidestep this. You can't small step this into absolutely excellent cigars. Because you imagine some of your favorite sticks, like the one that you really like, and then $100 Davidoff. That's going to be compared to a cigarette? Not a chance in hell.
Ain't no way.
No.
There's no way.
Not a chance.
I think that helps having a president in office that likes and enjoys cigars.
Yeah.
Someone that's experienced and knows what it's like and knows that it's not it's not tarnishing your health like a cigarette would.
Yeah.
Cigarette, you're going to have lung issues. You're going to have breathing problems and possibly have cancer is super through the roof with cigarettes.
I'll give you something to research for anybody listening. Is there's a doctor out there who's done some research about different illnesses, some even severe ones, in which he would apply nicotine patches to the people and notice a decline in the illness because of the nicotine having a positive effect on the human body. Which another thing is, like, nicotine is not just this. It's in broccoli.
It's in everything.
It's in everything in small percentages. This is just the highest percentage. Nicotine itself, and now I don't know this for 100% certain, but it's not an addictive substance. It's the chemicals added to it that are addictive.
Nicotine.
I may have that wrong.
I think nicotine at base can be an addictive substance, just like dip tobacco or chewing tobacco. It is primarily the nicotine in it that is the most
Moderation.
Yes, it's just in moderation. Everything can be bad for you in overconsumption.
Right.
Food can be bad for you in overconsumption. You turn into a fat lard like myself. Or
that Monogram number 8 study, it showed that the only way to have a massive health or a health effect on you is to smoke 4 or 5 a day for like 2 years.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
And
I have to have breaks.
There's that one actor who had smoked 9 a day, and he lived to like 98, almost 100 years old.
Think about Winston Churchill.
Right.
He was constantly smoking a cigar throughout this whole day, pairing with wine and food every day. His diet for the day was insane, and he lived well into his 80s, I do believe.
Michael Jordan would smoke a cigar right before a game, every single game.
And he's still a massive cigar
An athlete.
aficionado.
An athlete.
I heard he was pretty good.
He was okay. He was okay.
Some say LeBron a little better.
On a side note, I really did enjoy that movie that was about, the original Nike contract. I enjoyed that.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
Yeah,
I recommend the documentary about the Bulls and their championship. It didn't work.
No.
Now kids nowadays don't know about the clap on, clap off for the lights. But
Clap on. Clap off.
anyways, but yes, this cigar is fantastic.
Would you guys purchase it again? Would you smoke it again? Truthfully, don't sugarcoat it. Don't flavor coat it.
No.
Would you buy this again?
I would buy it again, especially at the price it is.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
say this stick was $25, right? No, I wouldn't buy it for $25. But I think it is priced right at where it's at. Like I would spend $12 on this stick, maybe up to $15, maybe.
Yeah.
Depending. But right where it's priced at around $10 a stick, give or take a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's perfect.
Josh?
Yeah, I think it's a phenomenal stick at the price point it's at. I think you're getting not too complex of flavors, but a solid flavor throughout. And you're getting a great quality cigar. You're not, I don't feel like I've gotten any, you'll get some $8 sticks that, that you like, that's
or garbage.
What did I just purchase?
Garbage Central.
And so at this being 8, it's a remarkable price point.
Yeah, and even Cigar and Aficionado rated 91, I do believe.
Yeah.
Like, it is a highly rated cigar, and for something that's that cheap to be rated that high, I'm surprised it's still staying on the shelf, to be honest.
I know. I'm a little biased. I learned a long time ago, don't tell people about your favorite stick. The only one I tell them about now is the Aroa 20th Year Colorado. It's one of my favorite sticks, box press. But that's a $15, $17 cigar. This one, it's an unsung hero. Get it while you can. Enjoy it. That's all I got to say about that.
I love it.
Any more to add about the libations of choice? Anything you want to run with?
Yeah, so I definitely, as we played around, I would definitely say the Isle of Scotch is phenomenal with it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so, you can play around much as you like, what libations
Yes.
you have at the house and see what pairs well for you, your palate.
Right, yeah. And then you don't have to stick with Scotch if you don't like Scotch. You're not a big Scotch fan. I'm majorly not a Scotch person at all. You can go with a rye. A rye bourbon will give you some of the same complexities as a Scotch would.
I'm
with
curious
the spices.
on a rum.
So I get
Oh.
a spicy rum or a spicy rye, something like that. I'll try to stay away from the overly sweet bourbons. I think the contrast between the two is just going to be too great.
Yeah, that would not.
I think it's just going to clash too much. Instead of enhancing the natural flavors already in the cigar.
They'd go with an acid.
And acid.
We're going to do an episode on flavored sticks. We're all going to hate it. I understand. No offense to anybody who likes it.
Again,
a little. But
I mean, I like some of them. Basically, my favorites are always like the Java or the Tobacco. So any of those cafe ones,
yes,
those are my favorite. Like I said,
there's
always a place for them. Like it's like hey, in the morning, you about to go tee off. It's like your morning coffee.
It pairs well to what your other addiction, which is coffee. Majority of us love coffee sitting at this table.
Yep.
If you get a cigar that tastes like coffee, it's like the best of both worlds.
Now that's also a really fun, libation choice. Is maybe
coffee.
Going with the coffee. One day to see if it
I already spoke to Daniel from the last episode, and he owns his own coffee company, and he's like, you guys should definitely do a coffee pairing episode. Different type of coffee.
It'd be interesting if you like an espresso or just a plain black coffee, or even doing something like a latte or some sort, or cappuccino, something like that. Just kind of like a broad range of examples to test a cigar with would be great.
Well, that rounds out the whole conversation. We appreciate you guys being here. Again, I'm Devin.
I'm Josh.
I'm Garth.
We are the WTF, the
Whiskey
Tobacco
Fellowship.
I know, it's corny. We just like doing it because we're weirdos.
We love corn.
Appreciate you guys being here. Remember, we have a bunch of social medias. We run everything out of the Arcafire Studios Discord, where we do that. Feel free. You'll see all the links below.
Yes.
Anything else?
Just like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Make cigars great again.
Make cigars
That's right.
great. And let us know what you pair. Because if you have a good recommendation, like you go, this bottle and this cigar,
we'll try it.
We will try it.
Yes.
Even if we have to order it. Now, please don't pick something that's like super hard to get and super rare, but try to pick something we can all get.
Yes.
And we'll try it. No joke.
We have a broad selection to choose from, so pretty much we'll probably have what you suggest. I would say.
Yeah, anything bourbon whiskey related, probably too.
Well, and we can find a way to get it.
There you go. With that note, cheers.
Cheers.
And we'll see you on the next episode of WTF.